After loading a design into the T8 controller, the next step is lining up the hoop and the fabric with the origin point of the design here. You can see this crosshair right here. First of all, my controller is giving me some information telling me that I am on needle 12. If I look down at the head of the machine with the hoop on, you can see that actually needle 12 is over the needle plate. This is showing me that is indicated by needle 12 showing up here. If I'd like to change the needle to needle 1, it's a little bit easier to see as we line up the center point of the design or the origin point of the design on that hoop. In order to change the needle, we click on R4. We just press R4, and at the bottom we see that we do have the option to select a needle. If we would like to select needles 9 through 12, we can click this button here. But I would like to select needle 1, so I click on needle 1, and then make sure that my light is on the right hand side, and I press the start button. Once I press start, you'll see my head move to needle 1, and now needle 1 will actually be over the needle plate. In order to position the needle with our origin point of our design and coordinate it with the hoop and the fabric, we need to come back up to our controller. We are on this side, or the right hand side of the controller. We need to press the ZSK button. When we press the ZSK button, you can see the light now highlights on the left hand side with the pantograph movement. The pantograph movement can be slow, fast, in 10 increments, or a single increment or a pulse. And if we press U, I believe this is 5, we can see now the speed. We have fast, slow, 10 pulses, and 1 pulse at a time. If I press the fast button, it will now move the pantograph fast. If I choose one of the buttons, I'm going to press the right button on the pantograph, and it moves the hoop to the right. Pressing the left button will move the hoop to the left, and that is pressing and holding it. Pressing the down arrow will move the hoop forward. Pressing the up arrow will move the hoop back. If I come back up to my screen and I press the snail, now when I move and use the arrows, it's moving it a bit slower. I can press single pulses just by pressing on the arrow one time, or I can press and hold, and that will move it into position. So I like to move my needle for this origin point onto the fabric, and I'd like to move it towards the middle of the hoop. I will go on the fast setting, move my hoop forward, and move my hoop to the right. I am about center. If you do need to move your needle down, come back up here. I have the needle down movement, left, or click on it, press it, and the needle will go down, or the needle will go up. I don't have my head on right now, so let me go ahead and make sure my head is on just by flipping the toggle switch. I can then move the needle down, and then when I do that, you can see that my needle comes down. I can still move the pantograph because my light is on the left hand side. So I can move the pantograph to whichever position, and once my pantograph is in position, I can bring that needle back up with the needle up button. Once my needle is up, I then would like to go back to my main buttons down at the bottom, press the arrow up, and then I have the ability to contour or trace the design. When I do that, it does bring me into a new design screen. I can contour coarser or finer. That is going to surround the design either in a finer mode. So if I click finer, you'll see closer to the actual stitches, or coarser will go, you know, in a broad range. In order to trace, I do need to hit the ZSK button again to go to the right hand side and hit that start button. And you can see that I am going to follow needle number 1. I will press start. My machine is now tracing the design. And following needle 1, I can see that it won't hit the hoop. So just because I know it won't hit the hoop, just to see it a little bit better, I will put the needle down. Come back down here, I hit the start button or the green button, and I will trace with the needle down. If you're afraid that you might hit the hoop while tracing, you can just hit the stop button and it will stop the trace. I'll come back up here and I will put the needle up. Once I am happy with it, I hit previous. We're going back to the main screen with everything input. Once I hit start, it will start sewing.